YouTube edits are ridiculous. Are they not like the shorts that you see? I don't know about you guys. I watch the YouTube shorts all the time. It's something different that I can, I get a different feed on there than I get on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever the fuck. But some of these edits are ridiculous. They'll hit like this super intense music at the end where they're like, "Bah, bah, bah, na, na, bah, 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 na, bah," and you're like, whoa, shit, this is like an intense, like badass guy that they're trying to frame up. And then you stop and pause and you're like, it's also a clip of young Sheldon. So I don't know how serious this needs to be, but not this serious. I know that. Welcome back to Pat on the Back. I'm your host, Pat O'Connor. It's the football show where we talk about football and anything else that I feel like talking about because it's my fucking show. It is today, it is Monday, was it February 9th? And reportedly, Mia Khalifa has been dating Mr. Bean since the summer, which is a headline I did not see coming. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, if you're funny, you win. I guess that's girls like personality. They're not as shallow as men are, I think. But that also kind of shows that men might be also kind of, it's just an odd pairing. A British 65-year-old comedian, if he's even that age, I don't know how old he is, dating an Indian American porn star in her 30s turned sports journalist. I don't know. I think that's what she does now. I'm not a fan. It's just a crazy story. Well, what an unlikely pair those two are. Rowan Atkinson, the Bean, Mr. Bean. I don't know if you guys remember. He was famous for doing like the the Mr. He's just a bumbling British idiot. Is is all that his character Mr. Bean is his most famous role. I mean, he did like some secret agent movies or whatever they were. I don't know what they were. They were like relatively entertaining, but they were like a British secret agent movie where he bumbles his way through the entirety of everything and it's ridiculous. But they're entertaining, you know what I mean? Like they're funny to an extent if you don't really want to think about a joke ever. They're like they're that kind of humor. They're, they're oh fuck, what's it? Steve Martin when he did the Pink Panther. That's Mr. Bean's the Rowan Atkinson. That's the same comedy. Those guys are. It's the American version and the British version of each other. It's the same guy, which is nuts. Is nuts that this story came out the week that the Super Bowl was going on. Like that was crazy by itself. And speaking of the Super Bowl, we'll talk about it. Now I record now on Mondays, and then we're switching to a Friday release. So I'm not going to get into any kind of film breakdown or what I thought of this. I mean, I'm going to tell you what I thought of the game, but like I'll give you my four thoughts that I had in order, and then we'll dive into them. My four thoughts of this game in order were Sofia Vergara, the Colombian mom from Modern Family, Sofia Vergara, I think. Then it was Sam Darny Dimes, Haley Steinfeld. This game sucks. Those are my four thoughts in order. Sofia Vergara, like before kickoff, they showed a commercial. I know she's done Skechers commercials before. For whatever reason, I don't know if this is the first time I've seen this particular one or if this was a new Super Bowl Skechers commercial with Sophia in it. It's the first time that I thought like, damn, she's getting older. It's the first time I thought that. I don't know if she's in her 50s or her 60s or whatever it is. But it's the first time I was like, she's aging for Skechers slip-on sneakers. That feels like something that an older individual would be a representative for. And it may also be where they've kind of moved past her not that great acting ability. And they're just like, yeah, she can. I mean, everyone knows who she is. So I just realized that the colors are changing behind me from the TV. I didn't think about that, but I do watch, you guys know this, I watch YouTube while I'm recording the episodes where I'll put on like, game highlights and stuff so I could be just have something on in the background type of deal. And I'm just seeing the colors flash, different colors from the ads behind me. So I didn't think about that, but it is what it is. Whatever. Maybe I'll cut that. I don't know. Maybe I won't cut that because if you don't get an explanation, it does look weird that everything's just fucking changing behind me. But that's all right. That's all right. Neither here nor there. So yeah, so then Super Bowl thoughts. So that Sam Darny Dimes, I was like, he started the game just threading him into some tight windows. He only completed about 50% of his passes on the day, but he was throwing some tight windows to start out. And I was like, that's crazy that's what's happening. I mean, good for him. He's showing up and showing out the way you kind of hope he would. Then in the first drive of the game, I think we saw Haley Steinfeld commercial. Which does she go by Haley Allen now? Maybe just in her personal life, maybe professionally, she still goes by Haley Steinfeld. I don't know. That's an interesting. I didn't think about that till just now. That she might have changed her name. Maybe she's Haley Allen. Who knows? Google might not even know. Who knows? Um, she had a Super Bowl commercial, which is like it's a little weird twist to the knife that she made a Super Bowl appearance before Josh Allen did. Like everyone's rooting for Josh to show up, and then we have this, and it's like, well, that kind of sucks. Which leads right into my next thought, which was the entire rest of the game of this game sucks. Not because it was a defensive battle in the first half, not because it just wasn't competitive overall, which it sucked. I mean, it felt good on one hand because it was like I live in New England and I'm a Buffalo fan, so I was telling everyone like, "Hey, I wouldn't hold my breath. I think you guys are going to get stomped." And everyone was like, "Nah, we're going to be fine." I was like, "No, I think this is actually going to be a problem." Think, like it's either going to be the Patriots are going to lose close or they're going to get blown out. I would say that overall this was a blowout. The final score is not reflective to how the game felt at all. I mean, even like my dad and my sister are not massive football fans, and they had reaction like when they watched it. My dad came home, he was like, I don't know what the fuck that was. A bunch of pussies out here, like just like, oh, I'll just gently shove you out of bounds. I'm not gonna tackle you, I'm just gonna shove you out of bounds. I tried to explain that it's like, football's changed since the 80s when you were playing football in high school. Things are a little different now. It's been 30 years where you can't hit people the same. And he was like, that may be so, but that game sucked. They were weak out there. I was like, it was a different experience. My sister had a little bit more of an astute observation than everyone playing this game was a pussy. My sister came home and she was like, I don't know who Drake May is, 22-year-old married to his 12-year-old sweetheart, but when they were 12 when they met, according to her. I don't know if that's true. I didn't fact check that. According to her, they were 12 when they met, so it's not weird. He's not married to a 12-year-old. That sounded weird when it came out of my mouth. She was like, married to his 12-year-old girlfriend, sweetheart, whatever. He fucking sucks. That was her analysis of the game. Drake May sucks. And my dad's analysis was they're pussies. Now, those are people who don't watch a lot of football. They don't. And so we can give them a reprieve on that. They're not analysts. They're not, they didn't watch. This may have been one of the first games they've watched all season. I almost guarantee that for my dad. And for my sister, it's the only way she watched a game is if she happened to be at someone else's house for a party and they had a game on. That's the only way she watched football. She's never turning it on her own accord. So it is very funny to hear them give that analysis back of being like just not not good, not an enjoyable product to watch. And I agree, it was boring as fuck. Like it feels good to be right, but it's also like, what are we doing here? Like, we knew this was going to be the case. Anyone who didn't know this was going to be the case is just lying to themselves. If they really thought that the Patriots were going to compete with Seattle, they were lying to themselves. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was an absolute shellacking. I think that's a word, shellacking, SCHL. If you can do that in a word, shellacking. But they got their asses kicked, and I did come up with it's not a great stat, but it is a stat, and it's a technically true stat that Drake May has now thrown more interceptions in a Super Bowl than Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold combined. Not a great stat to have thrown more interceptions than like 6 or 8, however many quarterbacks that was, 6 or 8 quarterbacks combined in the Super Bowl. Brutal, technically true stat, but wouldn't want to be that. Also, it was thought about this, that the Super Bowl was played in San Francisco or whatever, around San Francisco, whatever, you know what I mean, on the West Coast. The game started for me at 6:30 is when it kicked off, which means the game kicked off in like the local time to the game being played at 3:30. Imagine playing the biggest game of the season at 3:30. Imagine losing the biggest game of the season by 7:30 p.m. And like that's a lot of day left. Like some people at 7:30, some people haven't eaten dinner yet, and that's gotta just really suck. You know, like I can't imagine being like, well, Burger King is open for 12 more hours, or like that's crazy. Like the Cracker Barrel is still serving entrees at 7:30, and you have to deal with a loss. At least if it's on the East Coast and it starts at 6:30, the game ends at 10:30, you're like, all right, so like some of the kids have gone to bed, or maybe some of the older people have gone to bed, maybe I'll have to like deal with certain individuals. But like 7:30, there could still be traffic. Like unrelated to the football game, there could still be traffic. That is insane. That's got to be one of the worst feelings of all time, to be absolutely crushed, and in almost a humiliating way where, I mean, respectfully, like if you're not a Patriots fan, you're like, that was embarrassing. Even if, I mean, I had buddies who were Patriots fans that were like, this wasn't like, I didn't expect for it to be, like this close. I think we were lucky to be here, but this was an embarrassing turn of events. And I was like, dude, Matt's like, some guy's still on second shift at 7:30. The plant hasn't shut down. That's in Nebraska at 7:30 p.m. That is awful. And I know it's a Sunday and it's like, oh, well, people aren't going to be at work. It's like, well, they're at work now. When the game ends for me at 10:30, I'm like, damn, I got to get to bed because I have to be up at 4:30 to get to work. When it ends at 7:30, I'm like, yeah, I still got time to like watch a movie if I want to. Like I can watch like the Fellowship of the Ring and be like, all right, now it's a little past my bedtime. Like The movie's almost 4 hours long. I could get through, like, watch almost that entire thing after the Super Bowl and still get to bed at a relatively reasonable hour. That sucks. So glad I'm not one of those guys who's going to lose a Super Bowl in my life. Like, as a fan, yes. As a player, that brutal. Brutal. Also crazy to live out there and be like, well, what are we going to do with the rest of our night? Like we thought we were going to go to a party. We thought there was going to be a big, like New England Patriots hotel party, and just not anymore. Like, we just got our asses kicked. And so I guess we'll just go back to the hotel and watch Impractical Jokers on TBS for 2.5 hours before I go to bed. Like, that sucks so much. I can't imagine losing the Super Bowl and be like, I guess I'll just turn on the carbonara effect. Like, that's got to feel like the worst possible outcome to being in that situation. That sucks so much. That's my thoughts on the Super Bowl here, fucking week later after it's played. But oh my God, that's brutal. Brutal to have to go through that. It's insanely funny, but insanely brutal. I can't imagine having to deal with that shit. That would suck so much. But we're gonna keep the ball roll. I could go off on that for hours about how that would suck. But I don't know if you guys are watching. I'm watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Game of Thrones. Loved Game of Thrones. I watched it later on than a lot of other people. Like, I didn't watch it when it came out. I watched it like a couple years after it ended. It ended like 2018 or whatever. And I watched it like in 2025 or something like that. Like, pretty recently for the first time. Like, I watched part of it when I was deployed. I watched like the first 2 seasons back in 2017. And then the illegal website that I was using to watch it because I was overseas, that website got taken down. So I was like, all right, and I guess I just won't watch that anymore. And I moved on to other stuff. So I finally went back to it and rewatched it, and then I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. Even the ending, I didn't hate the ending. We'll talk about that more at some other point, maybe when the Night of the Seven Kingdom ends. But then I watched House of the Dragon, which a lot of people said sucked, and I was like, I didn't think it was that bad overall. I think it's just different, but it's not bad. But now A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is on, and I was like, dude, Sir Duncan the Tall, if he was a quarterback in the NFL, I don't think he'd be very good, but he'd be a ton of fun. He'd be fucking Joe Milton, just a big guy who could fucking sling it down the field. Just a cannon arm on him would be so awesome to see, I think. And his bravado, he's very like, he's not blowing shit out of proportion. I don't even know how to explain it. He's like a humble guy. He believes in like a code of ethics or morality. Which one is there a difference in those? A code of ethics or a code of morality? I don't know. There may be, I don't know. But he believes in that shit. And I'm like, dude, he could be a fucking really fun quarterback to watch. Like, that would be pretty sick overall, I think. I would love to see him just fucking zipping balls down the field. It makes you think of like what's coming next after football season. And you're like, shit, so, like, what am I supposed to do on Sunday? There's no football. There's not even like a Pro Bowl to watch if I wanted to. There's no college games. I'm just going to watch like what old games from last season. Like, I'm going to scout players from college. It's not I've never been good at picking a draft player. I think I've had like maybe 2 good picks because I don't like go like, oh, like, they're gonna take this guy in the 7th round. I go, this one player is gonna be good. I take a shot. I don't take like an obvious guy. I take like a guy where I'm like, I'm like, yeah, this guy he's gonna work out. I think the only guy who I've ever gotten right, at least the biggest one I know of, I think the Bills the year the Bills traded for Stephon Diggs. They traded for Diggs, and I was like, they should still use their second round pick, I think it was, to draft DK Metcalf, and then they'll have Stephon Diggs and DK Metcalf, and that's going to be a really good setup going forward. And then I think Seattle drafted DK in the third round, or maybe I wanted the Bills to take him in the first because I knew he wouldn't make it to the second, and he got snatched. And then he's been so good. He's good in Madden. I don't know if you guys have used him in Madden. It's a cheat code. It's insane how good of a wide receiver he is in Madden, and then he's good in real life. I mean, now he's in Pittsburgh, and they encourage, um, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe how wide receivers act in Pittsburgh, unhinged, like they just assault and battery. Like I don't know how you describe how those guys play, but between George Pickens, who was a nut when he was there, AJ Brown, who had the most severe concussion of any player who was able to stand up and walk away and continue to play a significant, like AJ Brown went crazy after playing in Pittsburgh, like legitimately crazy. Where he tried to run away to a different country and then came back. I think he's in prison right now. I haven't even thought about him in forever, but it's like, so am I just going to look into like drafting players now just to get back on topic? Like, no, I mean, that sucks. Like, for at least a month, I'm going to be like, there's no football. This is a fucking terrible time of my life. Like, March Madness is kind of fun, but I don't know college ball like that. And I mean, I guess I could get into hockey. The playoffs are coming up. So maybe we lean into a little bit of Buffalo State. Who knows? I know it's going to suck. I know that life isn't as much fun when football isn't around to talk about. I'm going to be scrounging for headlines, digging into like trades. Like, I don't know. It's just not going to be fun. You know what I mean? Going to really, really just not be a good time. But it is what it is. I get like, whatever, Let's jump into some things that I'm not buying I say this week. These are the things I choose to talk about that I'm not buying, but there's more to it than that. Some that I'm not buying is this fashion trend. I'm not buying like bell-bottom sweatpants. I don't know if it's just the area I live. I don't know if it is modern fashion. I'm not buying the baggy, like the bell-bottom sweatpants. If you want to, like, you don't have to wear sweatpants that are like tight around the ankle, but I've seen these fucking young dudes I almost said young boys, these young dudes at the gym where they're obviously in like their late teens or early 20s or whatever. And they're insanely baggy, like their feet completely disappear under these sweatpants. They are bell bottom. And it's not like they're bunched up so they hang over. It's like they're just that wide of a pant leg. I don't know why that's a fashion thing that's going on. Like, I don't know if things have just flipped that way back around. I'm not like a fashion guy. I'm a pretty normal dressing guy. I wear t-shirts, hoodies, and hats. Like, even my pants, I wear Wrangler jeans with a fucking, like a carpenter belt loop, the loop that like holds a hammer that they say is for carpenter paint. I wear those every day. Like, I don't know what is going on with the fashion nowadays, but it's not for me. I just think I don't get it. Maybe it's that I'm not going to rule that out, but it seems just crazy to be like, I'm going to go do something athletic, but you're not going to be able to see my feet. Like, you're dressing like a samurai. Do you realize that you're dressing like an off-duty samurai? Because I think they at least like fucking put the bands around their feet so you can like, to keep everything tight, and then they're just fucking have blowouts at the thigh where they're baggy as fuck. Like, you're an off-duty samurai is a crazy way to be dressing. Like, I don't get it at all. Maybe I'm not supposed to get it. Maybe I'm aged out. I mean, people often tell me that I seem old, like, on Rudy Tuesday. Go check out Rudy Tuesday. It's an awesome podcast that I do. I like how I just throw the ad in wherever. It's an awesome podcast that I do with Rudy Marinosi and Breck Michael. We just had on Lucas Estrella, very funny kid, 18 years old, up and coming comedian. He told me he thought I was like 36. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just old for 28. I don't think that's news at all. And I like trimmed up my beard and everything to try and look, and not to look younger, just to like be cleaned up. And I was like, I look way better like this. This is nuts how much better I look now that I actually like don't have just a bucket beard. I kind of got lost on that one. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, fashion. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I don't get it, but I'm all out on it. Another thing I'm out on bachelor's degrees. Like, so my mom has been working at the company she works at for like 25 years or maybe longer. I don't remember. She's been there forever. She might have been there before I was born. But it's just like it's a management job at a big time warehouse, and she's been there for like, yeah, almost 30 years. And so she knows how to do everything that needs to be done. And she put her resume out there just to, see what's going on. Uh, and this company that's building a warehouse nearby recruited her to be do the same job there, but pay her like an extra. It was something crazy. She was going to make like 40 grand more a year or something like that. And they reached out to her. She didn't reach out to them. They're like, we'd love to bring you in. And they were like, oh, we noticed you don't have a bachelor's degree. And she goes, no, I don't have a bachelor's degree. I just have my high school diploma, but it's like, I know how to do this job. Obviously, like, you guys were looking for me. You guys reached out to me. I know how to do this job, and I'm going to do it well, as I've been doing it for 25 years. And they were like, yeah, unfortunately, if you don't have a bachelor's degree, it disqualifies you from this job. And so I asked my mom, I was like, well, what do you need a degree in? Like, is that, I mean, you're in your early 50s now, but like, is that something we should like look into? And like, are you going to try and solve that problem, or are you just going to deal with it? And she was like, you can get a bachelor's degree. You just need a bachelor's degree. It doesn't have to be, you don't need a business degree or, like finances or warehouse management. If there's a bachelor's in that, if that's a thing, like, you just need any bachelor's degree. You could get a bachelor's in liberal arts and be, according to the hiring process, be more qualified to do that job than my mom. But what that tells me is that if it doesn't matter what your bachelor's degree is in, then you don't need a fucking bachelor's degree to do that job. Like, that doesn't, how is it a requirement, but it's not a specific requirement? If it was something related to the field of work, like, then yeah. Like, if you're going, I don't know how being a lawyer works, but if you're going to be a lawyer, you obviously need some kind of bachelor's degree, I would imagine, in law. But a fucking to be a lawyer, a bachelor's degree in fucking, I don't know, forensic. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking of a lot of them could be swayed into what, if you get a bachelor's degree in fucking golf course maintenance, which I'm pretty sure is a thing, then how the fuck are you going to be a lawyer? Like, because that makes sense. But if I get a bachelor's degree in Dr. Pepper and I just needed a bachelor's degree, then it's like, bam, I've got one. But if I've got a bachelor's degree in Dr. Pepper and I'm trying to get a job at Schweppes, they're going to be like, well, you need a bachelor's degree in ginger ale. And I'd be like, "Well, I got one in Dr. Pepper," and they're like, "That's not gonna cut it." I'd be like, "That makes sense." But if I got a bachelor's degree in ginger ale and they want me to make deep, like, air fryers, and they're like, "It's just as long as you have one is fine." It's like, then I don't need one. That train of thought doesn't make a lot of sense, but, like, it's you guys you know what I mean. Like, it should if you don't need a relevant degree, then you don't need the fucking degree to do that job. I think that makes a lot of sense, but also, I'm not the smartest guy, but I'm not that fucking dumb. Like, I could we all see how I got there pretty reasonably, I would say overall, but, like, that's crazy to me that it'll be like, "Oh, you well, I know we searched out you and we recruited you but you don't have this one pretty loose qualification, then we can't hire you." Is like, I wasn't even looking for this job. You tried to bring me in. And my mom's telling me, she's like, "Oh, we're gonna lose a ton of people to this company because, like, their starting rate is, like, $2 less than our top rate." And I'm like, "Oh, you guys are screwed. You're gonna lose 1,000,000 people," in which case they should be offering you more money at the place you work now. And you should leverage that position over them and just lie and say that they offered you a job for this much, but you'll be willing to take, like, a hometown loyalty discount. But that company also I was like, "Oh, like, well, we have more openings that you'd be qualified for if you're interested in those." And it's like, "Well, you want me to go, like, drive a forklift?" Like, my mom is not gonna do that at 50 something years old after being in management for, like, 18 to 20 years. She's not gonna just go be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll just drive a forklift for, like, less money." Like, that makes no sense and is disrespectful as fuck, frankly. But yeah, I still can't it's been a week since she told me that I can't get past that they were like, "Oh, you need a bachelor's degree to do this job, but just any degree." It's like, well, then I don't need one. If it doesn't matter what it's in, you don't need it. I can't stress that stance enough. I know I've said it several times, but it's one of the craziest things I've heard since becoming an adult of, like, it doesn't matter what degree you have, just as long as you have a degree, you're more qualified than the person with fucking 20, 25 years of experience. Absolute bullshit on that front. Not buying that for a fucking second. All right. The last thing I'm not buying that football isn't a big sales thing for food. You seen those Uber Eats commercials? I think I'm falling into that trap. I think, like, that's where I'm at with it now. I think I might. I mean, Matthew McConaughey's got a great voice. I think I'm buying into the conspiracy theory about the food. He did that one with Bradley Cooper, and he's like, "Oh, the Pro Football Hall of Fame looks like a juicer," I was like, "That's a crazy coincidence." I think that football might be a conspiracy to sell more food. I think that does make a lot of sense. That I didn't before. Can't wait to dig into this conspiracy even more than the commercials are, but absolutely nuts that that's the way that went. Didn't see that coming. Was like, this is obviously a joke. It's not true. They're just kind of funny commercials. And then I saw the Hall of Fame. I was like, that is a ridiculous way to design a building that I never thought about before. And that it is 100%. I'm not going to say 100%. It's pretty true. It's pretty blatantly true, I would say, because that's fucking crazy. Um, Man, but that's the end of the show for today, guys. This is a little wonky. We got video now. We're gonna be on Fridays going forward, every Friday at 7 a.m. And we got video now, obviously. which has been a total pain in the ass trying to set up because I'm not a very tech savvy person. But we're trying to square that away, just have a good time doing the videos. Yeah, it's been ton of fun. Super Bowl sucked. Thanks for that, Patriots. You're now the owner of the two most boring Super Bowls ever, between the one against Seattle this year and then the one against the Rams when Jared Goff was there. That was a fuck another field goal fest, like 12-0 or whatever the fuck it was. Boring as hell. So thanks to the Patriots. Yeah, you've been to 12 of them. You've also got the two worst ones on your resume. So that fucking sucks for you. I'm glad you lost. I'm glad that the Patriots fans are hurt about this. I think there's a chance that you turn into the Bengals where you never make it back to another Super Bowl, just like Joe Burrow did. I'm not going to rule that out because I think he got too good too fast in the second year. Doesn't make sense. Also, I think that's a trend. I think that's a pretty historically accurate trend where if you make it to a Super Bowl in your second year and lose, I think historically those players either never win a Super Bowl or they never make it back to a Super Bowl. Something like that. But either way, they don't win one. Whichever way it goes, they don't win any Super Bowls. So didn't really hate the Patriots that much coming into the season. By the end of it, I can't stand them. I hate the Patriots almost as much as I hate the Chiefs. So fucking thanks for that. It feels good to have another team that I can just put that energy onto, because now it's tons of rage to go out and to feed onto opposing fan bases. Cathartic for me, fucking sucks for you guys, but thanks for listening. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Thanks for continuing to grow with us. I hope these changes don't impact you too much on a personal level, and we'll see how the rest of this goes. But here we are. All right. Thanks, guys. Love you.